to Comfort TV, the channel news, bringing you verified and balanced news from Nigeria and around the world. My name is Faith Kevin. Thank you for joining us again. In the headlines, FreeKanu protest gathers momentum as Igbo leaders back Sowore. Former Vice President Atiku says peace in Nigeria hinges on defeating poverty. Deputy Speaker Kalu renovates Umuahia Correctional Center, pays inmates fines. Kaduna lawmaker offers 40 million naira scholarship to 400 indigent students. PCC Lagos calls for grassroots mobilization on PVC collection. Gunmen attack police station, kill 2 officers and 3 inmates. On business news, CAC Smedan to inject 6 billion naira into Nigerian economy through youth business registration. CBN governor says Nigeria's economic reforms are yielding visible results. On the foreign scene, thousands evacuated as tropical storm approaches Philippine coast. Azerbaijan strengthens ties with the Vatican, and on sports, Super Eagles hit by double setback ahead of crucial playoffs versus Gabon. 2-time European League champions Rafael Onyedika. Now the news. Igbo leaders, including monarchs, clerics, and the political elite, have unanimously declared their support for the Free Nnamdi Kanu protest being championed by activist Mr. Omoyele Sowore. The protest, initiated by the former presidential candidate, seeks to compel the federal government to obey subsisting court orders directing the release of the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Mr. Sowore, who first announced a nationwide demonstration earlier this week, where his verified social media handles described it as mass action for justice, peace, and the rule of law. According to him, the protest is not just about Mazi Kanu's freedom, but about the sanctity of court orders and the need to end selective justice in Nigeria. However, amidst mixed feelings about the protest, Igbo leaders who spoke in separate interviews said the clamor for Mazi Kanu's release had become a national project and urged President Ahmed Tinubu to heed the call. Linking the insecurity in the southeast to Mazi Kanu's continued incarceration, Igbo leaders says his unconditional release will help restore peace to the region. Former Senate President Senator Adolfo Zwabara said the rally had his full support, noting that he had already conveyed his solidarity message to the chief promoter of the rally and rights activist Mr. Omoyele Sowore. The former Senate President commended all the supporters of the movement for their courage to stand against injustice. Similarly, 2-time Minister for Education and Health, respectively, Professor Ihechukwu Mandubike, said the rally was not an Igbo rally, but a national action against injustice. He said that the continued detention of Kanu is no longer justifiable, hence the national outcry against the action. The elder statesman hailed all Nigerians who decided to lend their voices against the action. In the same vein, Abia monarchs have voiced support for the rally, saying it is in tandem with the continued appeals by Igbo leaders to the presidency. The chairman of Abia State Council of Traditional Rulers, His Royal Majesty Eze Linus Ntomba, said time had come for Mazi Kanu to be released. The monarch, however, appealed to the protesters to be peaceful. He also urged security operatives not to use force against the protesters, but to safeguard them to ensure that criminals do not infiltrate their ranks to foment trouble. Adding his voice, Methodist Archbishop of Umuahia Diocese, Archbishop Raphael Upoko, described the rally as pan-Nigerian movement, urging both the protesters and security operatives not to introduce violence into the rally. Mazi Kanu has been in the DSS custody since June 2021, facing a 7-count charge bordering on terrorism and treasonable felony. Former Vice President Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has warned that poverty will continue to bring chaos if left unaddressed. Alhaji Abubakar, in a statement on X commemorating this year's International Day for Poverty Eradication, described poverty as the greatest enemy that humanity has ever known, adding that it breeds disease, ignorance, insecurity, and hopelessness. He advocated genuine, deliberate, and people-oriented solutions to combat poverty. The former vice president tasked the government to take the fight against poverty to every home, every community, and every school so that the ordinary Nigerian can become a part of the solution. He said his advocacy for deliberate people-centered solutions to end poverty remains strong and consistent because Nigerians have sadly earned the label of being among the nation's hardest hit by poverty. Alhaji Abubakar's statement followed the World Bank Nigerian Development Update report, which revealed that 139 million Nigerians still live in poverty amid food inflation and insecurity. Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Benjamin Okezi-Kalu, has completed the renovation of the administrative block at the Umuahia Correctional Center in Abia State. The project, which involved re-roofing and installing new ceilings, was initiated in response to an appeal made by the former State Controller of the Nigerian Correctional Service, Ms. Josephine Ogbefun, during a courtesy visit to the Deputy Speaker in May 2025. In addition to the renovation, Honorable Kalu also facilitated the release of more than 15 inmates at the Umuahia and Aba correctional centers by paying their fines, contributing to efforts aimed at decongesting the facilities. The Comptroller General of the Nigerian Correctional Service, Sylvester Ndidi Umwakuche, and the Deputy Controller in charge of the Umuahia Custodial Center, Michael Ujako Mabia, expressed appreciation for the Deputy Speaker's intervention, describing it as a demonstration of compassion and commitment to the welfare of inmates and correctional staff. Senator Sunday Katung of Kaduna South has awarded 40 million naira in scholarships to no fewer than 400 indigent students from his constituency. The funds disbursed through the Sunday Mashal Katung Foundation provided each beneficiary with 100,000 naira to support their education in various tertiary institutions. Speaking at the presentation of the award in Kafanchan, Senator Katung, represented by Chairman of the Southern Kaduna Community Development Associations, Mr. Bature Likoro, said the initiative was aimed at easing the financial burden and hardship of students. He described education as the most powerful tool for social change and human capital development, pledging to sustain the scholarship program beyond his tenure as a senator. The chairperson of the Foundation Scholarship Committee, Mrs. Gloria Balasan, disclosed that 3,125 students applied for the scheme, with 400 selected after a rigorous and transparent screening process. She said the beneficiaries were chosen based on their poor economic statuses and academic performances. The committee's secretary, Mr. Edward Auta, urged the government and philanthropists to invest more in education to promote equal learning opportunities, while advising the beneficiaries to use the funds responsibly. Delivering a lecture on mainstreaming STEM education for national development, Mr. John La'a emphasized that science, technology, engineering, and mathematics (STEM) remain the key to innovation and sustainable development. The Presidential Coalition Committee (PCC) under the Lagos State chapter of the All Progressives Congress (APC) has called on party members and residents to ensure they register and collect their permanent voters cards (PVCs) ahead of the 2027 general elections to avoid disenfranchisement. The group made the call during a gathering of its members held at the Police College Ikeja, where it also inaugurated structures and street captains for grassroots mobilization across the state. Speaking at the event, the state coordinator of PCC and members representing Ikeja Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives, Mr. James Faleke, said the meeting was not a campaign, but a strategic step to strengthen voter participation at the community level. Also speaking, the Chairman Planning Committee of PCC Lagos, Barrister Kolade Alabi, described the initiative as part of efforts to deepen democracy and sustain public confidence in governance. According to him, the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is already yielding positive outcomes in governance, institutional reforms, and economic transformation. Barrister Alabi further noted that the administration's emphasis on true federalism and local government autonomy has brought governance closer to the people. He listed visible achievements of the Tinubu-led administration to include increased investment in infrastructure, expansion of the digital and industrial sectors, agricultural development, as well as youth and women empowerment programs that continue to uplift millions nationwide. 2 police officers have been confirmed dead, while 2 others sustained injuries following a night attack at the Divisional Police Headquarters in Zonkwa, Zangokataf local government area of Kaduna State. The assailants, who also freed several detainees during the assault, reportedly launched the attack in an attempt to rescue suspected transformer vandals recently arrested in nearby community of Ramai, located about 5 kilometers from Zonkwa town. It was gathered that the attackers, believed to have come from Kachia town in Kachia local government area, invaded the police facility at night, engaging security personnel in a prolonged gun battle. Despite managing to release some inmates, the attackers failed to free the arrested vandalism suspects who were being held at different security facilities. The combined efforts of police officers, personnel of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, local vigilantes, hunters, and community members eventually repelled the assault after hours of intense exchange of gunfire. Calm has since been restored to the area, while security operatives have intensified patrols to prevent further attacks and to track down those responsible for the deadly raid. Comfort TV, the channel's news, returns shortly with business, foreign, and sports news. Stay tuned. Many thanks for staying with us. This is Comfort TV, the channel news. On to business news. The Corporate Affairs Commission, CAC, and Small and Medium Enterprise Development Agency of Nigeria, SMEDAN, have launched a joint initiative aimed at injecting 6 billion naira into the Nigerian economy through the free registration of youth-owned businesses. Under the programs, 250,000 youth-led enterprises across various sectors, including content creation and small-scale ventures, will be registered at no cost. The initiative is designed to stimulate job creation, promote entrepreneurship, and encourage the formalization of informal businesses. The CAC explained that the collaboration with SMEDAN will not only provide young entrepreneurs with legal business identities, but also enhance their access to funding, government support, and growth opportunities. The program forms part of the federal government's broader efforts to strengthen the micro, small, and medium enterprise MSME sector, boost economic productivity, and reduce youth unemployment across the country. Still on business, the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Yemi Cardoso, says the country's economic reforms are yielding visible results. Mr. Cardoso said this in Washington, D.C. at the end of the annual meetings of the IMF World Bank. He said that the reforms were placing the country on the path to stability, inclusiveness, and innovation-driven growth. According to him, the country's active participation in the week-long session demonstrated the country's renewed credibility, fiscal discipline, and reform momentum on the global stage. He said the Nigerian delegation's message of policy, consistency, and macroeconomic reform has been well received by global investors, development partners, and financial institutions. The CBN governor said that the engagements reflected a new tone of confidence and constructive partnership. He said that there was a broad recognition that Nigeria's reforms were delivering results, adding that inflation was moderating. He said that the headline inflation fell for the 6th consecutive month in September to 18.02% from 20.12% in August, the lowest in 3 years. According to him, core and food inflation also eased during the same period, reflecting the combined effects of disciplined monetary tightening, exchange rate unification, and improved market transparency. He said that Nigeria's foreign reserves now exceeded $43 billion, providing for 11 months of import cover. On the foreign scene, Philippine authorities have evacuated thousands of people to safe places as tropical storms Fengshan, locally known as Ramil, approach coastal provinces. So far, 21,945 people have been evacuated in different provinces of the Baikal region, including Albay, Masbate, and Catanduanes, since Tropical Storm Ramil made landfalls on Saturday evening in the region, according to local media outlet Inquirer. According to the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration, PAGASA, another landfall is expected. As of noon on Saturday, the Philippine Coast Guard reported that 3,142 passengers were stranded at various ports across the region following the suspension of sea travel due to bad weather. In addition, 1,004 rolling cargoes, 6 vessels, and 2 motorized bunkers were also held at port. Pagasa also warned of possible storm surges ranging from 1 to 2 meters in coastal areas of Albe, Aurora, Camarines, Sor, Catanduanes, Masbate, Sorsogon, and other parts of the Luzon regions. Still on the foreign scene, Azerbaijan is strengthening its relations with the Vatican and the Catholic world, supporting the restoration of historic catacombs in the Holy See and in parallel by building a new Catholic church in Azerbaijan. The historic catacombs of Komodila, dating back to the 4th century, have been fully restored in the Holy See with Azerbaijan support and were opened in a ceremony attended by the first Vice President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Mehriban Aliyeva. The restoration project was carried out with the support of the Heydar Aliyev Foundation under an agreement signed on 4 March 2021 between the Foundation and the Pontifical Commission for Sacred Archaeology. During a visit in Rome, Aliyeva met with Pope Leo XIV, where the Pope underlined interreligious dialogue with Azerbaijan. As part of her visit, she also inspected the Vatican Apostolic Library, reviewed restoration efforts at St. Peter's Basilica, and visited Bambino Gesù, the largest pediatric hospital in Europe. Bilateral relations between Azerbaijan and the Holy See have witnessed notable development in recent years, with both sides actively engaging in restoration efforts, scientific cooperation, and cultural change. As a further sign of this growing partnership, a second Catholic church dedicated to St. John Paul II will be constructed in Baku. The Vatican Secretary for Relations with States, Archbishop Paul Richard Gallagher, blessed the construction site and laid the foundation stone for the new church. The project reflects the growing Catholic community in Azerbaijan and the continued development of interfaith dialogue. And now on to sports, where Nigeria's hopes of reaching the 2026 FIFA World Cup have taken an early hit as 2 key players, Terence Murphy and Semi Ajayi, are set to miss the Super Eagles' crucial playoff clash against Gabon next month. Despite a convincing 4-0 win over Benin in Uyo, the Super Eagles fell short of automatic qualification for the World Cup, forcing them into the playoffs alongside Cameroon, DR Congo, and Gabon. CAF has confirmed that Nigeria will face Gabon on November 13 in Morocco, the same day Cameroon meets DR Congo. The winners of both ties will meet 3 days later on November 16 to decide which team earns Africa's spot in the Intercontinental Playoffs, a final gateway to the World Cup jointly hosted by the USA, Canada, and Mexico in 2026. Dependable Hull City centre-back Semi Ajayi will miss the first playoff after picking up a second yellow card in the win over Benin, a booking that automatically rules him out of the Gabon tie. However, head coach Eric Chelle is expected to still name the defender in his November squad, hoping Nigeria's progress to the next round, where Ajayi could return to reinforce the backline against either Cameroon or DR Congo. More troubling for Chelle is the loss of striker Terence Murphy, who suffered a calf injury just a day after returning to his French club OGC Nice. The forward, who featured as a late substitute against Benin, reportedly pulled up during a light training session on Thursday. The setback is untimely for Murphy, who has started Nice's last 3 League One matches and was regaining rhythm after a frustrating injury spell last season. His absence now opens the door for Kevin Omori and Jeremy Boga to feature more prominently for the French club. For Chelle, the blow could force a tactical rethink with Murphy sidelines. The Nigerian boss may look to call on Paul Onuachu, Kelechi Iheanacho, or Gift Orban, all of whom have been in fine form for their clubs this season. Former UEFA Europa League champions Eintracht Frankfurt are weighing up a move for Super Eagles midfielder Rafael Onyedika. Onyedika joined Belgian giants Club Brugge from Danish side FC Midtjylland in 2022, and he has improved significantly. The 24-year-old defensive midfielder had worked under different managers at the club and has maintained his position as a bang-on starter. Due to his impressive displays at Club Brugge, the FC everyday product has been linked with some top clubs abroad like West Ham and Monaco. However, it appears that Germany might just be his next destination. Last summer, Onyedika was linked with a transfer to Eintracht Frankfurt in the final days of the transfer window, but they did not push for the deal. Now, according to fresh reports from transfer expert Florian Plettenberg, the 1980 and 2021 Europa League champions plan to make a return for Onyedika. This is as they expect to lose their star midfielder Hugo Larsson, who was attracted interest from other clubs. Although Rafael Onyedika is an integral part of the setup at Club Brugge, the club has said they will be willing to sell for the right price. With only 2 years left on the Super Eagles star's contract, the Belgian club have to sell in the coming transfer window or risk losing him for free. And that's our bulletin for the morning. But before we go, here is a recap of our top stories. FreeKanu protest gathers momentum as Igbo leaders back Sowore. Former Vice President Atiku says peace in Nigeria hinges on defeating poverty. Deputy Speaker Carlo renovates Umaya Correctional Center, pays inmates fines. Kaduna lawmaker offers 40 million naira scholarship to 400 indigent students. PCC Lagos calls for grassroots mobilization on PVC collection. Gunmen attack police station, kill 2 officers and free inmates. On business, CAC's Medan to inject 6 billion naira into Nigerian economy through youth business registration. And on the foreign scene, thousands evacuated as tropical storm approaches Philippine coast. On sports, Super Eagles hit by double setback ahead of crucial playoff versus Gabon. Thanks for watching. For breaking news, exclusive interviews and more, follow us online at ComfortTV.channel on all platforms. Remember to like and share our videos, subscribe to our channel and click on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any updates. My name is Faith Kevin. Until next time, stay informed, stay connected.